Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on this show, Guitar Hero is back alive.
Plus, we head to Soviet Russia to hunt a murderer in Child 44.
There is no murder in this country. There is no murder. Do you understand?
And then we join our old pal Liam Neeson for another round of Taken with Taken 3 on Blu-ray.
What do you know?
What I know is soon everyone you love will be dead.
Also coming up, Marissa and Scott unfriend each other after seeing the new horror movie Unfriended. Scott hops to it with Mr. Jump and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. The Rundown has been working on a fresh new set list, and it's about to go live. An iconic video game franchise is finally heading back to the stage, and in a completely new way, Activision has unveiled Guitar Hero Live, the first console entry in the franchise in 5 years. This time around, the developers want to make you feel like you're actually playing with a band on stage, so instead of animated visuals, everything in the game is shot in live action from a first-person perspective. The crowd and your bandmates will react to your playing in real time, so they'll cheer you if you're doing well and boo you if you screw up. The game also has a new guitar controller with a redesigned button layout, 3 on top, another 3 on the bottom. The easy setting will only use the top 3, while veterans will use all 6. This is designed to make it easier for newcomers and harder for veterans, while at the same time making the gameplay more similar to playing a real guitar. As before, songs will be included on the disc, and you'll also be able to get additional tracks through a new online service called GHTV, where each song can be played over its original music video. Guitar Hero Live launches this fall on all major consoles, along with some mobile devices. The online shooter Destiny is about to get a little bit bigger. The game's second paid expansion, known as the House of Wolves, will launch on May 19th. It will see players take on a new fallen threat in the mysterious Reef, an area seen briefly in the main game, and there will be new weapons and armor to collect along the way. New multiplayer content will also be included, but it's still unclear exactly how much of the story will be expanded. Many Destiny players complained about the lack of story in the main game and the last expansion, The Dark Below, so hopefully Bungie will rectify that. House of Wolves is, so far, the final expansion that's been announced, but more are rumored to be on the way. We've got a lot of Activision to talk about in the Rundown today, and here to help me with that is Marissa Roberto. Destiny.
Activision heavy.
Yes, Destiny. What do you think? What do they got to do to get everybody hyped up again? Because they've let a lot of people down.
Hyped up again. For me personally, did feel like a lot of the missions were just a repeat of themselves over and over again. Still fun, still a lot of fun, but just not, I don't know, nothing enticing me to come back for more.
Yeah, and that was one of the complaints with the last expansion, right?
Yeah.
So I think they really have to shake things up with this next expansion. It has to feel like new story, new content, new things to do. It can't just be loot. It can't just be weapons. I think it's up to the DLC now and whatever they've got in the plans for the future to kind of make us care a lot more about the franchise.
Right, we'll see.
And you know, and the other interesting thing is now Activision is bringing back Guitar Hero. It's a whole new revision. It's a whole new look to the game. A lot of people have been making a lot of jokes about Sega CD games in my social circle out there. What do you think about the new Guitar Hero Live?
Circle, man.
Yeah.
You got to roll with the younger crowd. Well, I don't. I'm not interested in any more of these plastic instruments. I know it's different.
And it's a brand new one.
I get it, it's a new one, but I don't want to add a new one to the list. Honestly, I would have felt so much happier if I could have just gotten the game and then taken my plastic guitar that I have in storage out and used that again. But this is a whole new guitar that I have to add to the pile later in the year.
Well, you know, and hopefully that, you know, this is Freestyle, the guys that did the DJ Hero franchise, which I love those games, and they're very strong developers. And hopefully they've come up with a concept for playing the guitar, which is going to feel even, you know, better than the previous guitars did.
I'm sure it's going to be tons of fun.
But I'm with you. I have a whole bunch of these plastic guitars. I know, it's unbelievable.
We got a problem on our hands, and I feel like this is only adding to it. And obviously, we're consuming all these things with plastic toys that come with them now.
And plus, it's a stopgap type of thing. It's not really, you're not really learning how to play the instrument.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like in between the plastic that we've already been familiar with, and then there's this step, and then the next step would be actually pick up a real guitar and learn how to play guitar.
Well, we've got
which I encourage you to do, by the way.
Okay, that's true. We should learn, but we're not going to be doing it with plastic. But we have to put down those plastic instruments now because we've got a story on Child 44.
You remember when we first met? You thought that I was rude.
He was staring at me.
I love this sort of idea in its very classic sense. A thriller, a cop chasing a killer. But in this situation, the bigger killer is the government.
I am sure you realize murder is strictly a capitalist disease.
I mean, I read the book in no time at all. It was just, you know, it was a gripping... It's a mixture between a historical biographic film and a page-turning thriller.
There's been another one.
Even though it is this, like, it's a big kind of epic movie, and we have action scenes and we have this whole thriller element. For me, it's very much a love story, but kind of reversed, because they start as two strangers and then they get to know each other and actually fall in love.
I have to find him.
I'm coming with you.
It's definitely a crime thriller. I mean, that is the world. I mean, we're exploring this world, but we're doing it through the nature of a crime story. And I've always thought crime stories can be many different things. In a sense, then, the structure with which we're exploring Soviet Russia is through this detective story. I mean, the great thing about detective stories and police investigations generally is they soak up a lot of the society in which they take place in. So if you want to understand a world, you know, have a look at the way in which the police work in that country or rule or society, and it tells you a lot about that world.
You have to be quiet. There is no murder in this country. There is no murder. Do you understand?
The set design and the set decorations have been magnificent. I mean, they've been so good on this movie, and the same goes with the wardrobe. And just looking at all the people, all the faces, the way you feel in your own clothes, and how your co-actors are looking and presenting themselves, it just puts you in a mind state that's it's very easy for your imagination to go places.
I need your help.
Why are these children so important?
I'm amazed at the commitment of the sort of background and the extras that they bring in. They really turn up. They're very sort of present. Set design has been flawless.
Enough! What do you want?
I would like to stop him.
That movie looked so intense. Really want to see it, and I guess we don't have to wait because it hits theaters today.
That's right, and we've got another guy that's had a lot of screen time so far this year. We're talking Mr. Neeson when we come back.
Suspect's name, Brian Mills.
Talking buried treasures here at EB Games. I found one that I think was actually quite a big hit. This came out in 2008. It was Battlefield Bad Company, developed by DICE over in Stockholm, Sweden.
Yeah!
The thing that makes this game different is it was a very solid single-player experience. There's also a robust online game modes in here as well. You can jump into the Gold Rush mode and have a lot of fun, but I prefer just playing through this as a single-player game. You played as a part of a four-man squad made up of a bunch of different character types. There was a real defined sense of humor and a sense of fun, even in the face of all of this carnage and ferocious action.
I remember blowing up my first tank.
This is a really action-packed game. And one of the things that helps this game along is the destructibility in the environments. 90% of the environments can be destroyed. This was one of the first games to introduce how powerful the DICE engine could be. And it was wonderful to see. It's got a great sense of timing, a great pace to it.
Oh, man!
It's loads of fun. The sequel even improved on this game, and I really hope that DICE and EA work their way back to more Bad Company goodness. But in the meantime, you can search out this buried treasure.
Nice selection there, Victor Lucas. I like what you did there with that buried treasure.
I have a certain set of skills.
Oh, I see. You're not Victor Lucas anymore. You're Neeson, because Taken 3 comes out on Blu-ray.
I will find you.
Oh, you know what, Vic? Normally it's more Sean Connery for you, but today your Neeson's on fleek.
I don't know what that means.
Nick and I have seen Taken 1, Taken 2, and we have seen Taken 3. Our good friend Liam Neeson is back. I like Liam Neeson a lot. Yeah. And the thing that happens in these movies is some sort of crime is affected on his family, and then Liam Neeson has to fight back.
Suspect's name, Brian Mills.
In this one, it isn't so much a kidnapping, it's a murder that takes place, and he gets framed, and he has to take down all the bad guys that put him into this dire situation. And of course he can. This is kind of like Harrison Ford in The Fugitive, but with skills.
21, he joins the Army. At 23, he joins the Special Forces. He's a trained sniper. Explosives expert.
You know, I do like Liam Neeson a lot, and I do like Forrest Whitaker a lot, who plays a police chief here, who seems like he has good intentions. I kept waiting for him to reveal a dark side. I mean, you're waiting for everybody in all Takens to reveal a dark side, but he turns out to be a pretty good, interesting character. Liam Neeson, I've always thought he's a good character, interesting character in these movies. I like his physicality. I just wish those two actors could go into a better movie.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to say that this is probably the most competent of the Taken films. None of them have been that great. Yeah, because it doesn't really feel like the other two movies. It feels like it's just a standard issue thriller. It feels very Fugitive-esque, you know? It feels like Tommy Lee Jones could, you know, parachute into the middle of this movie and have a monologue or something like that.
For a good movie.
That would have been pretty interesting,
I'd like to see
especially the parachuting. None of that happens, and some fairly routine kinds of action sequences happen. I actually think the action was a little bit stronger in the previous Taken films.
You look at Liam Neeson, and I don't know how old he is now. I guess I could check Wikipedia.
He's 95.
He's 95 years old.
Yep.
What do you know? What I know is soon everyone you love will be dead.
They're trying to make him look like he could do all this stuff.
Yeah,
he's kind of hobbling
well,
a little.
It's a little Roger Moore at the end of the Bond run that he had. You know, I mean, it does feel like the stunt guys pop in every once in a while. It's still an enjoyable sort of
don't go to
plot
the
boiler.
no.
I did enjoy this.
We paid $12.50 to see this.
I did enjoy it, though. There was definitely logic problems. There's definitely moments where it's like the movie just gives up and throws bad guys in front of Liam Neeson.
I did get up and go to the restroom, and when I came back, Vic leaned over and he said, "This movie gave up. Now they just put all the bad guys in a room and let them fight each other."
But it was
I started laughing, but I just thought if I paid $12.50 for this, which I did, I would be upset and angry. And I just think we see so much good stuff on TV.
Listen, this is January. This is the doldrums. This is when all the weak stuff gets. And Taken has not been
ask
good.
For more.
It's all pretty perfunctory, but it's there's some interesting character work in here, not just from Liam Neeson, but some of his assortment of compatriots in there. I think it's an okay film. It's a nice ender. Hopefully this is it.
I hope
That's
so
what
too.
they promise on the poster.
We saw a trailer for a movie that looks like
just like more
another Taken, and Liam Neeson doing more action. What are you going to score this movie?
I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. How about you?
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Yikes, if you're still interested after that, Taken 3 hits Blu-ray next week.
All right, Scott and Marissa recently went to the theaters for a scare. We're getting unfriended after the break.
I'm sorry.
Who would hack into a dead girl's account?
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Dragon Mania Legends, which you can play for free right now.
Pocket time again, everybody. Today I'm talking about a game for your iPhone called Mr. Jump. Now, this is available in the App Store, and of course it was the editor's choice. Not only was it the editor's choice, it was also free, which is Marissa's price when it comes to App Store games. This game, like all games that are free, isn't entirely free. You have to endure the occasional pop-up ad. It's nothing terribly intrusive, but what you get here for the price of free is a game where you run from left to right. We've played these kind of games before, and you jump, and there are all kinds of obstacles between you and the end of the level. There are 12 levels in all. The first level is excruciatingly difficult. The second level is next to impossible. I only made it 4 levels deep into the game, and it took every bit of gaming power I have in me to get that far. There's something insidious, there's something addictive, there's something kind of evil at the heart of this game, but you can't say no to it because of the price. You can't say no to it because it's so bright, so colorful, and so addictive. I don't know, check out Mr. Jump. It might do something for you that it didn't do for me. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10.
Nice jumping there, Jones. I love how you played that game in preparation for this next movie, as Unfriended is classified as a horror film. But is it scary enough and entertaining enough for us to sit through? Here I am getting dragged to another scary movie in this review.
It was one of you guys. It was me. What? Why? What do you mean, what? Why? They put me in handcuffs,
Chris and I went to the movies. We saw Unfriended. I had no idea what this is. It turns out it's a horror movie set on the internet. Not only houses can be haunted, apparently the internet can be haunted as well.
The internet can be haunted. Well, what's happening here, though, is the story. There is a story, even though we're just watching a screen, basically. All we're doing as an audience member is taking part in a Skype session between this one lady and her friends, and we're watching it through her computer. And that's it. We are watching everything happening on her screen. What this group of friends is doing is they're trying to just have a chat before bed, perhaps.
Like a friendly pre-bed chat, like I do.
Sure, yeah, that happens. But there was one thing that happened a year before, 2 years before this evening, where one of the girls that was in the group, perhaps not completely in the group, but I don't know how the inner workings of high school children are anymore, but she no longer was in the group and she was bullied, and then she was bullied online, and then she killed herself. And so then what's happening now is the spirit is coming back and haunting these children.
Yeah, so they're in their Skype chat, right? And it's all divided up, as you can see from the footage here, into little Skype screens kind of things. And then some mysterious person shows up, and it just looks like a butt with a moon rising behind it. And that's all I kept thinking. And they're all like, why is that? Who's that? What's this other person? Who's this person? We don't know who this person is here.
He's talking about the Skype icon.
The Skype icon. Is that Skype's icon?
Well, it's just a profile. When you don't put a profile picture in, that's the icon.
Looks like a butt. I think everything looks like a butt, though. So these kids start talking, and this thing starts communicating with them. And so it's the entire movie, there's no genuine, like, old school kind of cinematography at all. It all takes place on the internet. So you're just watching this person's, cursor just scroll all over the screen, and they're sending emails back and forth. They're sending private chats. They're sending public chats.
Who would hack into a dead girl's account?
That all tell the story here about what happened to this woman, and they find out that they have all crossed each other in some, I guess, that's what friends do.
Well, see, now we're getting into spoilers here, but I don't think we're spoiling too much.
Do not go see this movie.
Right, because there was actually a couple sitting beside us that got up and left halfway through the movie.
I've never seen this in a screening.
It was so great, and then she looked over and she said, "What a bloody waste of time."
Yeah, she said, basically, that's the British way of saying enough of this whore.
Yeah,
so
it was great.
Those people left, and then you and I were laughing. Everybody in the theater was laughing. I mean, it's supposed to be a dark, scary movie. Scary things are happening. We saw It Follows not that long ago. We both got a bit of a jolt from that, which was really fun. I was kind of hoping we'd move in that direction again. We did not. And, I feel like this is almost very similar to the Paranormal Activity series of movies. I mean, we have to start making more movies about the technology that is infiltrating our lives. This technology is stuff that we look at every day, day and night. I kept thinking, why do they not have a better internet connection? Clearly, they should be downloading faster. I mean, clearly, there's so many loading bars in this thing. It's just, where are they getting their internet from? It's a terrible internet service. Get rid of it.
Yeah, that's true, but I think the loading bars were to add to our suspense, right? So we're all supposed to be waiting on the edge of our seats for something to happen, because that's what you want in a horror movie. And I suppose
there's a rainbow wheel too.
There's yeah, I like to call it the beach ball of death. If you have a Mac, you know what I'm talking about.
I like that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think there's something scary on the internet, and there is a way to do a scary movie about this subject matter. This is not it. I just didn't believe any of the characters really had any connection. I didn't believe them as characters even, let alone characters who had relationships off screen. And that's disappointing. I wish they had some sort of problem to solve together. I wish they showed some sort of ingenuity, or I don't know, they just, as a group, I wish they had a little bit more of the Scooby-Doo kind of gang. Like, we're here to solve this mystery. There's never a mystery to solve.
No, well, there's a lot of, who is that? What's happening?
Yeah,
how did they get there? Here? So a lot of just questions being thrown out into the air, which I hate in horror movies.
Who is that?
I just tried to hang up on him.
Can we get rid of this person?
The other horror movie that was the bane of our existence this year, of course, is Ouija. That's the way I see it. I don't know how you say it.
It's Ouija.
But the star of that film was Shelley Hennig. She's the star here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and blame you, Shelley Hennig, for ruining both of these movies.
It's not her fault.
Don't make any more of these movies. This is terrible. This is a terrible movie. Do not go see it.
It's not her fault. She has that good, scary, sad face. Something's happening. I don't know.
Listen,
I feel like we could have written this movie, though.
I don't
even know if there was writing.
Okay, I guess. It could have all been improv. All right, what are you going to give Unfriended?
It was interesting, but it wasn't good enough to go out and buy a ticket for. It's getting a 3.
0 for me.
A little behind-the-scenes info for you. During the movie, Scott laughed at something ridiculous and accidentally farted, and then started laughing at his own slip. You've got questions, we've got answers after this.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It is time now for the best part of today's show. It is the Twitter question of the day. This one comes from JL. He is at albino_baboon. Nice one, JL. Thoughts on the hashtag Daredevil, hashtag Netflix show. I can still barely believe this got made. It's so perfect.
I share these sentiments. I think this is, you know, an absolute discovery. This Daredevil, the way that they approached the show is really amazing.
I'm already feeling your score.
Well, I'm trying not to score it because our review is coming up very soon. But I've binged every episode. I consumed it very rapidly.
Well, yeah, so did I because we are reviewing it.
Yep.
But it was a very difficult series to binge.
Yeah, lots of stuff happens in this season.
Sure,
a very, very interesting premiere season for a superhero show.
But we don't want to spoil anything because our review is actually in the next episode of EP Daily. Here's a little taste.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
You gonna listen to me this time?
Where am I?
You're in my apartment.
Look at these bags. Look at these bags in my eyes. This is from binging and snacking constantly. That is what we have done.
Netflix, what are you doing to us?
Well, you know, I've been binging a lot lately, and obviously we're talking about Daredevil right now. Daredevil is a very interesting type of show to watch, especially when you're binging, especially this show, because it was violent.
It's like going to medical school, this show, isn't it?
And
as bad as we look from binging this thing, we don't look anywhere as bad as Charlie Cox does as Matt Murdock. He gets the S beat out of him in this show. At one point, he battles this ninja guy, and he has got blades cutting into him and slicing his body up, and you can see like guts are starting to like hang, and the knife sticks into him, and the ninja guy starts pulling him and dragging him with the chain. It was so visceral and unbelievable, and the fight sequences in this thing are just outstanding.